Today's emulation video, it's about the NEC PC-6000 series computer, which you can see right here. Came with a Zilog Z80 processor, and this was used in a lot of home computers and home video game consoles like Sega Master System. It was used in the other computers like Sharp X1 and Radio Shack TRS-80 and others like that. And this was released before the NEC PC-6001 series of computers, which came out right after, and before that it was a NEC PC-8000 series computer. This computer came with about 16 to 32 kbytes of RAM. It used the NEC Micro PD780C1, which was a licensed copy of a Zilog Z80 processor, and it had about 20 kilobytes of RAM. These are the display resolutions for it. This was a graphics chip on the computer. Audio was capable of 3 channels, 8 octaves. It used the General Instruments AY3 8910 chip. It could use ROM cartridges, cassettes, and floppy disk drives on later models. It was released in 1981, so this was pretty early in the computer industry, basically. It had a number of ports on it: tape, RGB for the monitor, Centronics 2 joystick ports, audio port, cartridge port. And there were different variants like the NEC PC-6001 MK2. This had 64 kilobytes of RAM, 16 kilobytes of VRAM. These were the display resolutions, a little bit higher than the previous model. And you could find the emulator here. This comes with a number of Japanese computer emulators, including the NEC PC-6001. I'll leave this in the video description below. You could just download the whole thing and just get the emulator that you want. And you can find the programs on this URL here. It has a lot of programs and games for the NEC PC-6001 computer. Showed you how to use the software, the operating system. And I'll show you how to do that as well. So after you download the emulators, you're going to get something like this. I already put my emulator in my folder, so it's going to come with some files, and I'll show you what it came with. Here it is. These are all the emulator files that came with it. I made a separate folder called Games, and I separated that out between floppy disks and tapes. Most of the programs seem to be in tape format. And this is the file for the programs, basically. And I'll explain to you what they are, basically. Here, this one, CT, means it's a tape file. So I put all the tape files in here. I'll get Flappy, and I'll put that into a full download. Flappy here, tapes. These extras, I don't think they contain anything. I think they just contain like documents and stuff. Put this in there too, under tapes. I'm not really familiar with the games and programs on the NEC PC-6000 series because I never owned one, so I don't know very much about it, to tell you the truth. I'll be putting a number of programs on there. I don't know what Trick Boy is, I have no idea. Volgard. Okay. I think that's enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to my tapes folder. If you don't have 7-zip, you can get one for yourself at the 7-zip website. I'm going to extract the file into this folder, actually to this tape folder. Okay. Now I got more tape files in there. These emulators don't contain any viruses or anything, but if you're not sure, you could use Windows Microsoft Defender to scan the folder. There's no thread in there. There's no viruses or anything malicious. So let me start. So this is what you want to click on when you first start it. And you could set the machine here. I set it to PC-6001 MK2. Screen mode, Windows. We can always switch it to full screen mode by pressing Alt and Enter at the same time. Floppy disk drives, I set it to 2. You could set it to 0 if you want. DirectX output is direct reading. You could select direct draw or whatever, but I'm just leaving it on mostly default settings except for this part. And we can change the tape path, which I did. So this is my emulator folder, and I made something called games. And my folder, I'm going to select tapes here. Okay. So it's associated with that. For floppy disks, I'm going to set it to games, floppy disks here. And you could load your programs here as well, like this. Dig Dug here, like start the emulator. Tell me to select a BIOS or whatever. So I'm going to select number 2. I'm going to select 1, enter, select cload, and then run. Okay, now let's get started. I'm just going to press button to start. Right now I'm using my joystick or gamepad. It seems to work right out of the box. Again, full screen is Alt Enter if you want to use it. Okay, that's it. So to get out, I could press F11 key to restart it. That's doing that automatically. So what I want to do now is press F8 and load another tape. This time I'll select Aggie. I'm going to press F11 to restart. I'm going to select number 2. 1, enter. That time it didn't work. Let me quit. Let me select a different machine. Let me select that machine. Seems to be working on this emulator, on this BIOS. I just press enter there. Press down and press up to jump in this game. Oh man, I got shot. God damn it. Okay, that's it for now. Get out of here. Quit. Actually, just get out of here. I guess this time I will run a game that... This is to clear what's in there. So I want to load something. The floppy disk drive. Let me load that. Start emulation. If you load a floppy disk drive, it just loads automatically, like this. Just using my keyboard to play this game. Okay, get out of here. Yeah. Load another floppy disk. No idea what that is. It doesn't work. Clear. It's not. Try this machine. Guess that one doesn't work, so I'm gonna press F8. 8 again. Try this machine. Let's try this machine. Try number 5. Okay, that's working. Just press the space bar. For this game, it's shift for shooting to the left, space bar for shooting to the right. Oh, okay. Okay, let me get out of here. See if this works on this machine. Actually, let's try that. Seems to work on this as well. On this part, you see the tape rewinding and fast forwarding. That's what it is, basically. Okay, I think that's it for this tutorial. So this is your control panel area for the simulator. I think this is the INI file, or the configuration file. So when you configure something, it saves it here, basically. If you want to change it or reset it, you just delete that and that's it. I think these are the BIOS files for the simulator. So this simulator comes with a BIOS file, and that's pretty much it. Oh yes, I want to show you the NEC PC-6000 series, different versions of it. This is a NEC PC-6001 MK2 SRS, and this was a later model, I think. This was probably the earliest model. Keyboard looks very cheap compared to the later models. This is a rear part of the NEC PC-6001. These are the ports for it. I think that's for composite video. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's for the tape drive. That's for the power cord. So the computer is basically a classic late 1970s, early 1980s design, where you have a keyboard built into the computer and all the ports are basically on the keyboard. It's not really a modular design. This is the side of the PC-6001. I think these are the 2 joystick ports for it. Looks like a floppy disk drive. That, I don't know what that is. I think that's for cartridges or something. This is some kind of printer. This is for a cassette. Pretty bulky. And it came, I think you could buy a monitor, or you could hook it up to your television, but it looks like an NEC monitor, so it's probably, you could buy the monitor separately. I'm not really sure about that. I never owned one of these things. Back in the day when my friend had an Atari 800 computer, it did not come with a computer monitor. He used his computer on a CRT television set back in the day. For computers like the Apple IIc, it came with a monitor. I don't think the Commodore 64 came with a monitor. Or the ZX Spectrum didn't come with a monitor. Just use your television screen to hook up your computer. So anyways, that's it for this video. And if you liked it, you can leave it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, or if you know a lot about this computer, you could leave it in the comment section. And I will put all the links in the video descriptions below, so you can find the emulator and the programs and everything.